Imagine, if you will, a global corporate entity, one that's managed with, well, chilling precision, obsessively brand conscious, and frankly, shockingly sophisticated in its legal maneuvers.
Yeah, but its core products aren't, sneak tech gadgets or anything like that.
Not at all. Its trade is chaos, its currency is narcotics, and its enforcement arm. Raw, unadulterated violence.
And this isn't some, dystopian thriller you're reading.
No, this is the stark, brutal reality of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. Forget the romanticized image, rebellious bikers on the open road. This organization has evolved.
Massively evolved.
Yeah.
Into a transnational criminal powerhouse.
Leveraging a brilliant, if, let's be honest, utterly perverse business model to facilitate a multi-billion-dollar illicit economy. That spans continents.
That's huge.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into this meticulously crafted, often terrifying world of the Hells Angels. We're pulling back the curtain on precisely how they've managed to become one of the most resilient, feared, and successful organized crime syndicates on the planet.
We're going to unpack their truly unique blend of, corporate cunning and brutal criminality.
Explore the intricate architecture of their global network, and confront the shocking scale of their illicit enterprises. North America, Europe, everywhere.
By the end of this, you'll grasp just how deeply they've woven themselves into the very fabric of the underworld.
Consistently defying law enforcement and leaving, well, an indelible trail of devastation in their wake.
We're going to examine that paradox at their heart.
Exactly. How this organization simultaneously operates as a fully legal entity, fiercely protecting its intellectual property in courtrooms around the globe.
While also being a ruthless criminal machine specializing in drug trafficking and violence. It's kind of mind-bending.
We'll expose the grueling, soul-binding path to membership, a gauntlet designed to forge an unbreakable loyalty that rivals any corporate oath. Seriously.
And we'll reveal how their truly decentralized global structure, which is, frankly, a masterclass in criminal resilience,
Actually makes them incredibly difficult for authorities to dismantle.
Exactly. It's a study in paradox, brutality, and sheer audacious resilience.
So let's unpack this unsettling reality, shall we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's truly remarkable here, I think, is that we're not just talking about some street gang or even, a traditional mafia-style syndicate.
Right, it's different.
We're discussing a highly adaptive, multifaceted entity that defies easy categorization because it consciously occupies two distinct worlds at once. It's deliberate.
So they've meticulously built a system.
A system that allows them to exist with shocking efficiency in both the overt legal world of trademarks and corporate filings and the covert criminal underworld of illicit markets and savage violence.
And it's this duality, this ability to weaponize the legal system while simultaneously operating as a brutal criminal enterprise.
That makes them such a persistent and formidable challenge for law enforcement agencies across the globe. It's genius in a really dark way.
That's a profound point, and it's arguably the most unsettling truth about this organization. It's the core contradiction, right? This group, which to many remains synonymous with pure outlaw culture, is, in fact, a meticulously organized, legally incorporated entity.
Yeah, formally registered in the U.S. and Canada as the Hells Angels Motorcycle Corporation.
The sheer balls of it, truly, it just fundamentally shifts our perception of who these people are.
It's far more than just brazenness. It's a genuine masterstroke of legal manipulation. Consider one particularly shrewd tactic.
Okay.
Some of their New York chapters are incorporated as the Church of Angels.
Get out! The Church of Angels, you're kidding!
Not kidding, and this isn't some sudden spiritual awakening for hardcore bikers, believe me.
Right, I didn't figure.
It is a cold, calculated move to exploit First Amendment protections in the United States, cloaking their operations under the guise of religious freedom.
Wow.
Beyond that, it also provides them with tax-exempt status, which is an incredibly powerful shield against asset forfeiture and seizure by authorities.
So they can keep the money safe.
Allows them to accumulate wealth without the usual scrutiny. This is a level of legal cunning rarely, if ever, associated with what most people imagine when they hear motorcycle gang.
Right. It just completely upends the classic image. And they don't simply incorporate, they engage in what you can only describe as trademark terror, a sophisticated form of what people now call lawfare.
That's a good way to put it.
The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club owns the trademarks to its name, the iconic winged death head logo, and even the numerical shorthand 81, which, H and A, eighth and first letters.
They hold these trademarks in over 50 countries.
50. It's a global legal fortress they defend with absolute vengeance.
And what's truly fascinating here is their evolution in defending that brand. They initially relied on what they euphemistically called self-help trademark enforcement.
Which means what exactly? Beating people up.
Well, yeah. In plain terms, it meant intimidation, violence, and outright threats to protect their symbols and name. That was the old way. But they've long since transitioned to employing sophisticated, aggressive litigation. This is where their corporate side really comes to life.
Yeah.
They've had the absolute audacity to sue major global corporations for unauthorized use of their brand,
Taking on anyone.
proving they're willing to take on literally anyone.
And when you say major global corporations, we're talking heavyweights like Marvel Publishing,
Yep.
Walt Disney Motion Pictures Group, the high fashion label Alexander McQueen,
Even them.
and even Toys R Us. I mean, the idea of the Hells Angels squaring off against Disney in a federal courtroom sounds like some kind of dark comedy sketch.
But it absolutely happened, and they've done so successfully sometimes. It's almost surreal.
It is surreal.
Precisely. These high-profile lawsuits serve multiple strategic goals, extending far beyond just protecting their IP.
Okay, like what?
First, they generate significant media coverage. This coverage, just by its nature, often portrays the club as a legitimate entity defending its legal rights.
Which directly counters the law enforcement narrative.
Exactly, the narrative that they are purely a criminal organization. Second, and equally important, these cases send a chilling, unmistakable message to the broader business world. Infringe on our brand at your absolute peril.
Don't mess with the logo.
Don't.
Yeah.
Their own IP counsel famously stated that the strategy is to bring shock and awe cases and to shine a bright light on them in federal court and the media.
Shock and awe, wow.
It's an incredibly ruthless and, you have to admit, profoundly effective public relations and brand management strategy. It subtly normalizes their image in the public eye.
And it's not just about winning cases or intimidating competitors. It's about monetizing that aggressively protected brand, right? They've built a global merchandising machine.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking official support merchandise, t-shirts, hats, keychains, patches sold through official websites and at sanctioned events.
It provides a substantial, legitimate income stream.
Which, as law enforcement asserts, creates this deeply unsettling pipeline from, some regular person buying a t-shirt.
Directly to a criminal enterprise. So, yeah, when you buy a Hells Angels support t-shirt, you might literally be contributing to funding their operations. It's a grotesque thought. And this brings us squarely to the flip side of that polished corporate coin, the outlaw enterprise, unmasking the undeniable criminal core.
Okay.
Despite that meticulously crafted corporate facade, there's an overwhelming global consensus among law enforcement and intelligence agencies that the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club is, at its core, a sophisticated organized crime syndicate.
And this isn't just like one agency saying this.
No, this isn't a few isolated bad actors or rogue members. It's systemic. It's a view adamantly shared by the U.S. Department of Justice, the FBI, Europol, the RCMP in Canada, Criminal Intelligence Service Canada.
The big players.
Among the professionals who track them, there is simply no ambiguity about their fundamental nature. They see them as organized crime, period.
And their public relations narrative, which we hear so often, we're just motorcycle enthusiasts and any crimes are just individual acts by a few bad apples.
Yet that narrative gets absolutely pulverized by the evidence.
Consider, for instance, the ATF's 21-month Operation Black Biscuit.
Right. That provided direct, damning evidence of high-ranking members, including Sonny Barger himself, the legendary figurehead of the Oakland Charter, orchestrating serious criminal conspiracies.
Like what kind of conspiracies?
Murder for hire, widespread drug trafficking. This wasn't some low-level rogue. This was the top brass actively directing serious, violent crime.
Jesus.
And to further cement their classification as an organized crime group, federal indictments frequently utilize powerful statutes like ICO.
The Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act.
Exactly. And the Vicker statute, violent crimes in aid of racketeering.
Okay.
These laws are a prosecutor's ultimate weapon, specifically designed to target entire criminal enterprises, not just individual acts. They require prosecutors to prove a pattern of criminal activity, meaning multiple crimes linked to the ongoing operation of the organization.
Well, it establishes them as an enterprise.
It effectively cements the Hells Angels classification as a sophisticated organized crime syndicate. The repeated successful application of these laws against HAMC members demonstrates their criminal acts aren't isolated incidents.
They're integral, calculated parts of the club's business model.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even Sonny Barger, their most famous and revered leader, had convictions for narcotics trafficking. That certainly undermines any romanticized image of a simple, rebellious biker.
Okay, so we've established this jarring paradox of the suit and tie legal maneuvering combined with just brutal criminal reality. Now, the next logical question is, how did they actually scale this? How did a group starting in Fontana, California grow into this global empire? Let's pull back the curtain on how they built this thing.
Well, their origins are surprisingly quite humble, but their trajectory was undeniably ruthless and incredibly ambitious from early on.
Humble how?
The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club was founded in Fontana, California, March 17, 1948, by Otto Friedli and other World War II veterans. They were essentially a breakaway faction from another club called the Pissed Off Bastards of Bloomington.
Can't make that name up.
Right. But the pivotal moment in their expansion, their true big bang, came with the founding of the Oakland Charter in 1957 by Ralph Sonny Barger.
The legendary Sonny Barger.
Under his visionary, if utterly criminal leadership, Oakland quickly became the de facto political and spiritual center of the club. He was instrumental in unifying disparate clubs and formally incorporating the organization in 1966.
So he laid the groundwork for going global.
Absolutely. That laid the essential groundwork for their global ambitions.
And from that point, the world truly became their oyster. They went global with astonishing speed and strategic intent.
They did. Their first international charter wasn't just like over the border in Mexico or Canada. It was Auckland, New Zealand in 1961.
All the way across the Pacific, so early on.
Think about that for a moment. Then a crucial strategic foothold in Europe, starting with London, England in 1969.
Okay, London's 69.
From these beachheads, they embarked on a relentless campaign of global expansion, establishing a presence across virtually every continent: Europe, Australia, South America, Africa. It was methodical.
And in the scale by the 21st century.
Staggering. They had undeniably become the world's largest outlaw motorcycle gang, or OMG, a term law enforcement uses, though they prefer 1%er themselves.
Right. The 1%er patch signifies that outlaw status.
Exactly. They boasted an estimated 6,000 members in 592 charters across a staggering 66 countries.
66 countries. How did they grow so fast? What were the methods?
This rapid, almost viral growth was achieved primarily through two highly effective strategic methods.
Let's talk about the most effective one first, the patch over. This sounds like more than just recruitment.
Oh, it was pure strategic acquisition. They wouldn't simply recruit individuals into existing chapters. They would absorb entire existing, often well-established motorcycle clubs.
Just take them.
Exactly. This offers instantaneous territorial acquisition, complete with established local infrastructure, a full roster of already vetted members, and, critically, pre-existing access to local criminal markets.
It's like a hostile takeover in the corporate world, but with, well, far more brutal implications.
Pretty much. They don't have to build, they simply annex.
Any key examples of that?
Oh, yeah. Key historical examples include the HAMC in Montreal, Canada, absorbed in 1977. This gave the Hells Angels a critical Canadian foothold, instantly granting them access to one of North America's most lucrative drug markets, especially Quebec.
Okay, Canada via the Popeyes?
Similarly, the Bloody Devil's MC in Hamburg, Germany, was patched over in 1973, establishing a base in one of Europe's most important and profitable criminal hubs. It's just far more efficient than building from scratch.
Right. And the second method, you said it was slower?
The slower burn involves establishing new charters from scratch, often by incubating smaller puppet or support clubs. These clubs basically prospect for years, proving their unwavering loyalty and, critically, their criminal utility before they might be granted a full Hells Angels charter. It's a rigorous long-term vetting process.
Okay, so once they've established these hundreds of charters across the globe, how is this entire Leviathan run? You mentioned a devilishly clever governance model. How do they manage to blend local autonomy with iron-fisted control across so many groups, cultures, legal systems?
It truly is the foundation of their extraordinary resilience and longevity. Their structural genius lies in the system that masterfully blends decentralized operational command with incredibly rigid ideological control.
How does that work in practice?
The local charter is the fundamental, largely autonomous unit. Each charter operates with significant freedom in its day-to-day affairs. That includes member discipline, local recruitment, and the execution of local criminal activities.
But there have to be rules.
Oh, absolutely. This autonomy is strictly governed by a standardized set of bylaws, often called the Ten Commandments or similar club rules, and a rigid hierarchical officer corps present in every single charter, ensuring ideological consistency and control from the top down, even if indirectly.
So sort of mini mafia structure within each local chapter. Who's in charge there? What are the roles?
Exactly. Every charter has a president who holds absolute authority and often veto power over significant decisions.
The boss.
Pretty much. A vice president, second in command, a secretary-treasurer, meticulously handling the charter's finances and records, very important.
Gotta track the money.
A road captain who manages logistics for runs and travel, and critically, the sergeant-at-arms.
The muscle.
The enforcer, the disciplinarian, responsible for internal security and ensuring absolute adherence to club rules. The sergeant-at-arms is often the most feared and physically imposing figure within the chapter, a crucial part of maintaining order and demonstrating power, both internally and externally.
But if they're so deliberately decentralized, with each chapter having so much local autonomy, how does law enforcement even begin to dismantle them? It sounds like there's no central head to chop off, which is the classic strategy against, say, the Mafia.
And that's their deliberate decapitation defense. Is absolutely crucial to their longevity and resilience.
Explain that.
The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club consciously and strategically lacks a single, identifiable, international or even national president who could be targeted by law enforcement.
Ah, so no single CEO figure.
Exactly. This is a sophisticated defense mechanism.
Yeah.
It makes it exceptionally difficult for authorities to cripple the entire organization by arresting a central figurehead, a strategy that often works against more traditional top-down crime syndicates.
So how is governance managed then, beyond the local chapter?
It's managed at a regional level. In the U.S., for instance, you have regional gatherings like the West Coast Officers Meeting, or WESCOM, and the East Coast Officers Meeting, ECOM. Representatives from these regions meet regularly to coordinate policy, resolve disputes, plan large-scale events.
Which often includes coordinating criminal enterprises, I assume.
You assume correctly. Major decisions that affect the entire club, like granting new charters or changes to fundamental bylaws, are often voted on worldwide.
Worldwide voting, really?
Yes, creating an illusion of democratic consent within what is ultimately a highly autocratic and disciplined structure.
So a kind of dark side federalism at play. But even with that official decentralization, there must be informal power centers, right? A kind of spiritual or political capital that holds sway.
There absolutely is. While formally decentralized, certain charters hold immense informal influence. The San Bernardino or Purdue Charter is recognized as the original mother charter, holding a revered historical significance.
Okay, the first one.
But the Oakland Charter, thanks largely to Sonny Barger's legendary status and its historical strength, traditionally wielded immense informal power, especially in critical decisions like granting new charters or resolving major inter-chapter disputes.
So Oakland had the real juice, unofficially.
For a very long time, yes. This blend of formal decentralization and potent informal influence allows for incredible operational flexibility while maintaining strict cohesion under the overarching Hells Angels brand and ideology. It's a remarkably robust model.
And who are these individuals willing to pledge such profound, often criminal loyalty to an organization like this? Let's talk about that gauntlet of membership. It sounds absolutely brutal.
It is. The process of becoming a full-patch member is long, arduous, a true crucible of commitment that, frankly, few people would willingly endure.
Why do it then?
It's a multi-layered screening mechanism designed not just to select suitable candidates, but to filter out infiltrators and, crucially, to forge absolute, unwavering loyalty through shared hardship and, importantly, undeniable criminal complicity. It creates a bond that, for many, becomes stronger than anything else in their lives.
So you can't just walk up to a Hells Angels clubhouse and say, hey, sign me up. It's strictly invitation only, right? You have to be known.
Precisely. The very first stage is the hang-around phase. You must be personally invited by a full-patch member to even associate with the club. Often means you've already had some connection or shown some affinity for their lifestyle.
Okay, so you're invited in. Then what?
As a hang-around, you're under constant informal observation by all club members. You're expected to be present at club events, perform menial tasks cleaning, running errands, prove your reliability, and demonstrate an alignment with the club's often brutal values. This phase can stretch for a year, maybe more.
A long audition.
It serves as an initial low-investment vetting period, weeding out the flakes, the tourists, the potentially problematic individuals.
And if you make it past that initial scrutiny, then you become a prospect, which sounds even more intense, like true servitude.
It absolutely is. The prospect phase is a formal probationary period. Usually lasts at least 1 year, but often longer. Depends on the chapter, depends on the guy.
And during this time.
During this time, prospects are literally considered property of the club. They have no voting rights, no say in club matters, and they are on call 24/7 to perform any task demanded by any full patch member.
Any task.
Anything. Cleaning clubhouses, guarding motorcycles, acting as muscle in a dispute, driving members around, and significantly, often participating directly in criminal acts. It is a period of unrelenting subservience and total obedience.
And this is where it gets truly dark and strategically chilling, because prospects are often forced to commit felonies as part of their initiation. That's not just hazing, that's way beyond that.
It serves a critical dual purpose, making it profoundly effective for the club's security and cohesion.
What purposes?
First, it undeniably proves their commitment to an outlaw lifestyle and their absolute willingness to break the law, risk their freedom for the club. Once you've committed a serious crime for them, you're deeply compromised and bonded to them. There's no going back easily.
Right, you're in it deep.
Second, and crucially for their security, it acts as a robust counterintelligence system. It helps ensure they aren't undercover law enforcement officers.
How so?
Because cops, undercover cops, are usually constrained by ethical and legal rules from committing serious, violent felonies themselves. Forcing prospects to cross that line is a virtually foolproof method for vetting out infiltrators.
That's incredibly cynical and effective.
During this brutal time, a prospect wears a vest, or cut, with only the bottom rocker identifying the territory and a small MC patch. It's a constant visual reminder of their subordinate probationary status. They haven't earned the full colors yet.
That visible symbol of their servitude, their place in the hierarchy. So if you survive all that, the hangaround, the brutal prospecting, the criminal acts, you finally become a full patch member. What does that signify? What are the criteria?
It signifies the ultimate vow, a lifetime commitment to the Hells Angels. Full patch status is only granted after a unanimous vote by every single full member of the charter.
Unanimous, one no vote kills it.
One no vote can end a prospect's journey right there, no matter how much shit they've eaten or how loyal they seem. Illustrates the absolute control of the group.
Wow. Okay, so you get the unanimous vote.
Upon success, they receive their full colors, the top Hells Angels rocker, the iconic Death Head center patch, and the bottom rocker signifying their specific charter. This commitment is often symbolized by an AFA patch.
AFA.
Stands for Angels Forever, Forever Angels. It signifies a lifetime oath.
And the membership criteria themselves are pretty strict, right?
Extremely strict. Typically limited to white males who own a large displacement, American-made motorcycle, preferably a Harley-Davidson. Though there's some debate on the strictness of the Harley rule nowadays.
And the biggest restriction.
Crucially, anyone with a past or present career in law enforcement or corrections is unequivocally banned. No cops, no prison guards, ever. The vetting is designed to prevent infiltration at all costs.
So this grueling, often criminal process produces an individual whose primary loyalty is to the club, above family, above career, and absolutely above the law itself.
That's the goal.
That's a truly terrifying level of dedication, bordering on, like, indoctrination.
It's designed to be exactly that. It creates a cadre of individuals who are not just loyal, but deeply compromised and reliant on the club for their identity, their protection, and often their very survival. They are effectively bought body and soul.
Okay, let's now turn to the true engine of this empire, the illicit economy. What's their primary business? The very lifeblood that funds this whole sprawling global operation.
Unequivocally, narcotics trafficking. That is the principal and most lucrative criminal activity of the Hells Angels.
The main moneymaker.
It is the undeniable financial engine powering the entire organization. It funds everything, the legal fees for those trademark cases, the weapons, the bikes, the clubhouses, the lavish lifestyles for some.
Any idea of the scale? Like, how much money are we talking?
The FBI has estimated their annual revenue from drug sales could be as high as an astounding $1 billion.
A billion, with a B.
$1 billion. Think about that for a second. That's not just illicit profit. That's a serious, high-volume, global enterprise. It rivals the revenue of legitimate multinational corporations.
That's just mind-boggling. And they're not just, like, buying and selling prepackaged stuff. They're involved in the entire damn supply chain, aren't they?
Absolutely. They're not simply distributors. They're deeply involved from production and transportation all the way down to street-level sales in some areas.
Full spectrum dominance.
Gives them control and maximizes profits. They show a particular specialization in the methamphetamine and cocaine markets. Law enforcement reports consistently identify them as major players in the manufacture and distribution of meth and the transportation and distribution of cocaine, often leveraging their international network to move product across borders.
And they've even introduced meth to new markets.
Their expertise is such that they've even been credited or blamed, rather, with introducing and establishing mass-scale methamphetamine production in new international markets, like South Africa back in the late 1990s, fundamentally changing the drug landscape there.
Wow. But it's not just meth and coke, right?
No, beyond these core specializations, their drug portfolio is remarkably diversified. Marijuana, heroin, hashish, LSD, MDMA, ecstasy, PCP, diverted pharmaceuticals. Basically, whatever sells. It allows them to adapt to any local drug market demand and exploit new opportunities with brutal efficiency.
And all this vast profit, this billion-dollar drug trade, is secured ultimately by violence. It's not just random aggression, it's an intrinsic business tool, isn't it? Like, essential.
That's a crucial, grim insight. Violence is inextricably linked to their narcotics business and, frankly, to all their criminal enterprises. It isn't random. It's their primary tool for market enforcement.
Yeah.
It's used to intimidate rivals, protect distribution territories, brutally discipline those who transgress club rules or interfere with their operations, and even to enforce internal hierarchy, keep everyone in line.
And law enforcement sees this link clearly.
Well, yeah, law enforcement indictments explicitly link violence to business interests. Charges under statutes like Vickers specifically prove acts were committed to maintaining or increasing position in an enterprise.
So the violence is the business, in a way.
It confirms that violence is a calculated fundamental component of their criminal enterprise, a strategic part of their business model, not just some byproduct of being outlaws. It's a means to an end. Profit and power. Pure and simple.
Beyond drugs, what other streams of filthy lucre do they tap into? What else is in this diversified, often depraved portfolio?
They have a surprisingly diversified criminal portfolio, ensuring multiple revenue streams aren't solely reliant on drugs.
Yeah.
Arms trafficking is a significant one.
Gun running.
Deeply involved in it, buying and selling illegal firearms, automatic weapons, silencers, even explosives across borders. This serves a dual purpose.
Let me guess. Arming themselves and selling to others.
Exactly. Equipping their own members for violent conflicts and providing a highly profitable secondary revenue stream selling to other criminal groups. A dangerous energy.
And I imagine that fearsome reputation, built on decades of violence, makes them pretty effective at extortion and protection rackets.
Bingo. They shrewdly leverage that reputation to demand protection money from legitimate businesses, especially in cash-intensive industries like nightlife, bars, tattoo parlors, adult entertainment.
Where owners might be scared to go to the cops.
Precisely. Victims are often reluctant to involve law enforcement, fearing violent retribution. This is classic organized crime, exploiting fear for steady income.
And then there's the truly abhorrent side. Prostitution and, in some cases, human trafficking, which just shows a complete lack of any moral compass.
Unfortunately, yes. In several European countries, notably Germany and Austria, Hell's Angels chapters are extensively documented controlling brothels, running sophisticated prostitution rings.
The worst cases.
And in the most egregious cases, using brutal violence and coercion to force vulnerable women into prostitution. This is indeed a truly dark and disturbing aspect of their operations, showcasing their willingness to exploit literally anyone for profit.
Just awful. Anything else in the mix?
Beyond those, their criminal portfolio also includes more traditional but still highly profitable crimes, large-scale motorcycle and vehicle theft, armed robbery, and fencing stolen goods. It's a wide net they cast.
With all that illicit cash flowing in from drugs, guns, extortion, prostitution, they face the same critical challenge any successful criminal enterprise does. How do you clean it? How do they launder these billions, integrate that dirty money into the legitimate economy without setting off alarms everywhere?
That's the absolutely critical challenge, right? Getting the money usable.
Yeah.
And they employ a variety of increasingly sophisticated methods.
What's the most common way?
The most common technique, and one that's incredibly difficult for authorities to trace effectively, is investing in and operating cash-intensive front businesses.
Like what?
We're talking tattoo parlors, a classic.
Yeah.
Gyms, security companies, haulage firms, limousine services, strip clubs, anything where large amounts of cash change hands regularly.
How does that actually work to clean the money?
These businesses provide a plausible source of income and, crucially, a physical location to mix illicit cash with legitimate revenue. So imagine a Hell's Angels-linked tattoo parlor. It naturally processes a lot of cash.
Okay.
They can easily inflate the reported earnings. They might deposit legitimate tattoo income alongside a significant chunk of, say, drug proceeds, all funneled through the same business bank account.
So the dirty cash gets mixed with the clean.
Exactly. The dirty cash is transformed into clean business revenue on the books. They can then use that seemingly legitimate money to buy assets, like property, or fund further criminal operations without immediate suspicion. This blending is an absolute nightmare for authorities to untangle. Requires immense resources, forensic accounting. It's tough.
So if you're getting a tattoo at a shop that's tied to the Hells Angels, some of that money could literally be going right back into funding God knows what. Drug trafficking, maybe?
Indeed. It's a profoundly disturbing thought for any consumer, right? And they're not limited to just simple front businesses.
They do more complex stuff, too.
Oh, yes. Members have engaged in far more sophisticated white-collar crimes. For example, the former president of the Sonoma County chapter in California was convicted for a multi-million-dollar mortgage fraud scheme.
How did that work?
Using properties acquired through fraud for marijuana cultivation, then laundering the proceeds through complex, layered financial transactions involving shell companies. It was elaborate.
And more recently?
More recently, investigations into Hell's Angels-linked jewelers in British Columbia, Canada, indicate the use of high-value commodities like precious metals and gems as highly effective money laundering vehicles.
Why gems?
Easily transportable, hold immense value, harder to trace than cash sometimes. And as technology
They're
evolves,
probably using crypto and stuff now, too, right?
we can only assume their likely embrace of modern laundering techniques.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrencies, decentralized finance platforms, online gambling, using all that to move and conceal funds across international borders. They are nothing if not adaptable to new financial landscapes. They learn fast.
Here's where it gets really interesting and fundamentally challenging for law enforcement. Insulating the top brass. You mentioned that the formal, visible leadership often doesn't correspond to the true leadership of the criminal networks. How does that work? How do they protect the main guys?
It's a critical nuance, a highly sophisticated organizational design that helps ensure the longevity of their criminal enterprises. Academic research, particularly some really detailed social network analysis, conducted on the Quebec Hells Angels during the Biker War.
What did that show?
It revealed a disturbing pattern. The key figures in the criminal structure, the ones most central to the drug trafficking networks, the architects of their illicit billions, were often mid- or lower-level members, or even non-member associates, not necessarily the chapter presidents or officers.
So the guys making the big criminal decisions weren't the ones with titles.
Often not. This suggests a deliberate strategy to insulate senior, formal leadership from direct, prosecutable criminal involvement. The visible chapter president might largely run the public-facing club, attend meetings, manage internal club politics,
While someone else runs the dirty side.
while a less visible but far more central network actor, maybe someone with no formal title at all, manages the high-risk criminal enterprise. This poses a formidable challenge to law enforcement strategies that focus solely on targeting the formal hierarchy.
Because cutting off the head doesn't necessarily cripple the true criminal brain.
Precisely. It's like a corporate CEO having a shadow CEO running the truly illegal side of the business.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant and terrifyingly effective strategy for self-preservation.
Okay, let's go global now and look at the brutal battlegrounds where the Hells Angels operate across continents. Starting with North America, their birthplace, and still their biggest powerhouse.
Yeah, the United States remains their largest and most significant operational theater. Over 92 chapters spread across 27 states last I checked. Their primary focus here is the highly profitable production and distribution of methamphetamine and the transportation of cocaine, often flowing north from Mexican cartels they work with.
And the American landscape is marked by violence.
Intense, often public, and utterly ruthless violence with rival outlaw motorcycle gangs. The outlaws, the pagans, the Mongols, they're all vying for control of lucrative drug markets and territories. Gets bloody.
And the infamous Mongols' War is a brutal, enduring testament to that, culminating in the 2002 River Run riot in Laughlin, Nevada, a casino floor gunfight.
Left 3 bikers dead, numerous others injured, right in the middle of a casino. That's a level of public violence that truly shocks the conscience and exposes their absolute disregard for civilian safety when settling scores.
So what's the U.S. response been, mainly?
The primary response from U.S. authorities has been large-scale federal investigations, often involving long-term undercover infiltrations like the ATF's Operation Black Biscuit we mentioned earlier, and prosecutions under the powerful ICO statute designed to dismantle entire criminal enterprises.
And it's ongoing.
Absolutely. Recent federal indictments, like the 2024 racketeering case in North Carolina against Hells Angels and Red Devils members for murdering a rival pagan, demonstrate that this pattern of organized, violent criminality continues unabated. The feds remain relentless in their pursuit.
Okay, over in Canada, the Hells Angels' history is one defined by conquest and an almost unimaginable level of violence, isn't it? Especially in Quebec.
Absolutely. Canada has around 34 chapters, over 1,200 members. The CLO established its dominance there through one of the most violent gang conflicts in North American history, the Quebec Baker War.
When was that?
It raged from 1994 to 2002. This wasn't just a few skirmishes. It was a sustained, brutal, multi-year war against the rival rock machine MC and its allies.
Fought over what?
Fought for absolute control of the province's incredibly lucrative drug trade, particularly hashish and cocaine flowing through the port of Montreal.
And the violence was extreme.
Unprecedented in its public nature and sheer brutality. We're talking car bombings in residential streets, targeted assassinations in broad daylight, widespread arson. Over 160 deaths are attributed to that war.
Including innocent bystanders.
Horrifically, yes. Including innocent civilians like 11-year-old Daniel Desrochers, killed by shrapnel from a car bomb intended for a rival biker. That incident in particular horrified the public. It was a true scar on the province.
So the Angels won that war eventually?
Yes. The Hells Angels' eventual victory cemented their monopoly over Quebec's criminal underworld, but at an immense cost to society. The sheer public brutality of it all was so shocking to Canadians.
It forced the government to act.
It spurred the federal government to pass specific, strengthened anti-gang legislation, giving authorities more tools to combat organized crime. But even with that, the RCMP and Criminal Intelligence Service Canada continue to officially designate the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club as a major organized crime threat. Their influence and danger endure.
Let's shift our focus across the Atlantic now, to Europe. How have they entrenched themselves there? What kind of criminal enterprises do they favor?
Germany, for instance, is now a major European stronghold, something like 69 chapters, maybe 1,400 members. Their operations there are heavily concentrated in the vice trades.
Vice trades, meaning?
Chapters in cities like Hamburg have historically controlled vast swaths of the red light districts, engaging in forced prostitution, brutal extortion rackets against business owners, pimps, and large-scale drug distribution. It's nasty stuff.
How has Germany responded?
The German state has responded with targeted suppression. They've banned specific charters outright and prohibited the public display of Hells Angel symbols in certain areas, trying to curb their overt influence and recruitment.
And then there was the Great Nordic Biker War. That sounds like something ripped straight from a Viking saga, but obviously much more modern and deadly.
It was almost certainly more hellish than any movie could portray, a truly defining conflict for them in Europe. From 1995 to 1997, Scandinavia became the theater for another of their most savage wars, fought against the rival Bandidos MC.
The fervor drugs again.
Primarily, yes. Control of the region's lucrative drug markets, particularly hashish and amphetamines. And this war was fought with military-grade weaponry.
Like what?
Stolen anti-tank rockets were used to attack fortified clubhouses, machine guns, grenades. It was open warfare in cities.
Jesus. The casualties?
Resulted in 11 confirmed murders and nearly 100 attempted murders across Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. It firmly established the Hells Angels as a dominant, utterly ruthless force in the region.
And is it over now?
The main war ended, but tensions continue to simmer even today. There's ongoing violence, for example, in Copenhagen's Christiania district over control of the cannabis trade there. The rivalry hasn't just vanished.
Moving further south, Spain serves a vital strategic purpose for their European operations, doesn't it? More than just local crime.
Yes, Spain is absolutely critical logistically. It acts as a primary entry point for massive shipments of cocaine and hashish, coming mainly from South America and North Africa, destined for the wider, very profitable European market. Its extensive coastline and connections make it ideal for smuggling.
And the police are aware.
Very aware. Major multinational police operations like Operation Valkyria and Operation Casablanca have repeatedly targeted their extensive networks in Spain. They've uncovered large-scale drug trafficking, sophisticated money laundering schemes, and even corruption of local officials linked to the Angels.
Any recent examples?
A significant 2024 operation down in Marbella, for example, targeted a high-ranking Hells Angels member accused of coordinating the trafficking of drugs and firearms from Spain directly into Germany, highlighting just how transnational these operations are. They move product seamlessly across borders.
And the Netherlands took the most drastic, unprecedented legal step of any nation against them, didn't it? A complete ban.
They did. In 2019, the Dutch Supreme Court delivered a landmark ruling banning the entire Hells Angels organization nationwide. Not just a chapter, the whole thing.
On what grounds?
The court declared it a danger to public order and the rule of law, finding that the club's inherent culture of violence and systemic criminal activities were fundamentally incompatible with Dutch society. It remains the most severe legal step taken by any country against the Hells Angels, a testament to the perceived threat they pose.
Now, let's turn down under to Australia. Arguably one of the most brutal and certainly one of the most profitable illicit drug markets in the world.
Australia is indeed a high-stakes environment for them, and for all OMGs operating there. Street prices for drugs, especially methamphetamine or ice, can be many times higher there than elsewhere.
Which fuels violence.
Exactly. It creates an exceptionally violent and competitive outlaw motorcycle gang landscape. The Australian Hells Angels chapters are deeply involved in drug and arms trafficking, contract murder for hire, and widespread extortion. It's a full criminal portfolio.
And the history of biker conflict there is notoriously bloody.
Infamously so. Marked by the 1984 Milpera massacre, which wasn't even the Hells Angels directly, but a public gun battle between the rival Comancheros and Bandidos that left 7 people dead, including a 14-year-old girl caught in the crossfire. It set a grim precedent.
And the violence isn't confined to history books. It's a continuing public scourge like that Sydney airport brawl.
Far from it. That 2009 brawl with members of the Comanchero MC right inside a crowded terminal at Sydney Airport resulted in a Hells Angels associate being bludgeoned to death with a metal bollard.
In public view.
Right in front of horrified travelers. It was a stark public display of their utter disregard for public safety and the rule of law. And as elsewhere, profits are meticulously laundered.
Through the usual suspects, tattoo parlors, gyms?
Yep. The standard array of cash-intensive front businesses. Security companies, tattoo parlors, gyms, transport companies.
Okay, here's that particularly chilling paradox again, the one Australian authorities have exposed. Despite these violent street-level wars between rival clubs, there's compelling evidence of transnational cooperation for profit, isn't there? It reveals a deeply cynical calculation.
This is a crucial, disturbing insight into the true sophistication of their criminal ecosystem. It really shows how business trumps everything else at the highest levels.
Explain the example again.
Despite the brutal public street-level wars between the Hells Angels and, say, the Comancheros in Australia fighting tooth and nail for local turf authorities have repeatedly reported that the Comancheros source a significant portion of their drugs, multi-ton in shipments.
From where?
From the Port of Vancouver in Canada, a port notoriously controlled or at least heavily influenced by the Canadian Hells Angels.
So, rivals locally, but partners globally for the big shipments.
It demonstrates unequivocally that for those massive multi-ton drug shipments, the imperatives of profit, the sheer scale of illicit billions, can and often do override local gang rivalries. The war is for public consumption and territorial retail control. The business absolutely follows the money, no matter who is on the other side of the ledger when it comes to wholesale supply. It's a truly sophisticated, if deeply perverse, criminal calculation.
So let's talk about the broader geopolitics of this underworld. The Hells Angels aren't just fighting local skirmishes. They're engaged in what truly amounts to a one-percenter world war, a complex, multi-front conflict.
That's precisely the right way to view it. Their operational environment is defined by a complex, brutal, and often decades-long web of alliances and rivalries with the other big 4 outlaw motorcycle gangs. The Bandidos, the Outlaws, and the Pagans.
And these aren't just minor disputes.
No, these are deeply entrenched, multi-continental conflicts fought over criminal territories, drug markets, revenue streams, and sometimes just pure hatred, often with astonishing brutality.
So it's not just the Hells Angels against everyone else. Law enforcement intelligence suggests there's actually a formidable global coalition forming specifically in opposition to the Hells Angels.
That seems to be the case. Law enforcement intelligence indeed suggests a kind of loose, often shifting, but significant global coalition has formed in opposition to the Hells Angels, recognizing them as the biggest player and primary rival.
Who's in that coalition?
The Mongols' MC, for instance, is often allied with the Bandidos, the Outlaws, the Sons of Silence, and the Pagans against the Hells Angels in various regions. This means the HAMC, despite their immense size and global reach, face a multi-front, multi-continental challenge from powerful established rivals who are just as ruthless.
Let's quickly tick through some of those key global rivalries and the havoc they've wreaked.
Okay. The Hells Angels versus the Bandidos is arguably the most widespread and violent international OMG conflict. We saw it fought with military-grade weapons in the Nordic Biker War and with firearms leading to the Milpera massacre background in Australia. It's global.
Okay, Bandidos are huge rivals.
Yeah.
Who else?
Then you have the Hells Angels versus the Outlaws. That's one of the oldest and most bitter rivalries, described by some in law enforcement as death rivals since day one. A feud spanning decades across North America. Deep hatred there.
And the Pagans.
On the U.S. East Coast, the Hells Angels versus the Pagans is particularly intense. Recent federal indictments detailed standing orders for Hells Angels members to attack pagans on site, leading to numerous murder and attempted murder charges. It's hot right now.
And the Mongols.
And finally, the notoriously vicious Hells Angels versus Mongols rivalry, particularly intense in Southern California, epitomized by that deadly 2002 Laughlin River Run riot, where lives were lost in that public casino shootout. Pure venom between those two.
But again, that distinction between the business and the war is so critical, going back to that Australian example. We can't just see them as blindly warring gangs. There's a deeper, more cynical strategy.
It absolutely is, and it's a profoundly important distinction for understanding their resilience and true nature. Despite the brutal public wars between local chapters, pragmatic, high-level cooperation can and does occur when massive profits are at stake.
Like the Vancouver drug example.
Exactly. That Australian example, Comancheros fighting Hells Angels locally, but sourcing multi-ton drug shipments from Canadian Hells Angels, suggests a highly sophisticated criminal ecosystem. Street-level violence for retail dominance and territorial pride coexists with transnational wholesale alliances driven by mutual financial interest.
So the war is for show sometimes.
The war is often for show, or for specific localized control. The business is for billions and operates in a different, more pragmatic, almost corporate plane sometimes.
And part of how they maintain this power structure, this reach, is through what you've termed a shadow army of support clubs. These are essentially force multipliers, providing a crucial buffer, aren't they?
Exactly. The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club employs a global network of smaller, subservient support or puppet clubs as a strategic force multiplier. They allow them to project power and control territory far beyond the capacity of their full-patch membership alone.
And one of their main functions is insulation.
One of the primary chilling functions of these clubs is to act as a criminal buffer. They are often tasked by the Hells Angels with carrying out violent acts and high-risk criminal endeavors like drug muling, assaults, sometimes even murder.
Providing plausible deniability for the full-patch guys.
Precisely. It provides a layer of plausible deniability for full-patch members and insulates the core organization from direct law enforcement scrutiny. If support club members get arrested for a crime ordered by the Angels, it's significantly harder to legally link that crime directly back to HAMC leadership.
Like in that North Carolina case.
Exactly. That model was clearly illustrated in the 2024 North Carolina indictment, where members of the Red Devils Support Club were charged with carrying out a murder allegedly for the Hells Angels. The Devils took the direct risk.
So they're also serving as primary recruitment grounds, a proving ground for future members, a perpetual pipeline of fresh talent, so to speak.
Precisely. They serve as the primary recruitment pool, long-term proving grounds where potential members can demonstrate unwavering loyalty, physical toughness, and crucially, criminal aptitude over years.
Which are the main support clubs?
The Red Devils Motorcycle Club, or RDMC, is the most prominent and officially recognized Hells Angels support club globally. Explicitly described in court documents as subservient. Other examples include groups like the Sons of Hell in California.
And even non-biker gangs.
And even non-motorcycle street gangs like AK-81 in Denmark, which was literally formed by the Hells Angels to fight rival immigrant gangs on their behalf, acting as their street-level muscle. This sophisticated tiered organizational system provides the Hells Angels with expendable foot soldiers, a deep recruitment bench, and a crucial, almost impenetrable layer of insulation from the law. It's a terrifyingly effective criminal architecture.
So wrapping this up, what have we really learned about the Hells Angels in this deep dive? We've seen an organization that has masterfully transitioned from, a post-war counterculture phenomenon.
Into a disciplined, immensely wealthy, and globally influential criminal enterprise, their extraordinary longevity isn't accidental. It's not luck.
It's a testament to a unique and brutally effective operational model that seamlessly blends corporate shrewdness with ruthless criminality.
And that unsettling paradox remains as potent as ever. Their decentralized architecture provides incredible resilience against law enforcement's most determined attempts to dismantle them. We've unpacked their shocking dual identity, a legitimate corporation fiercely defending its brand in court,
While simultaneously acting as a criminal syndicate generating billions in illicit revenue across the globe.
and the rigid, soul-binding membership process ensures a continuous supply of deeply loyal, criminally compromised individuals, forming the unshakable bedrock of their power. That loyalty is key.
Ultimately, the Hells Angels represent an enduring and crucially adapting threat. Through the strategic, often savage application of violence, this organization has carved out and ruthlessly defended lucrative positions in transnational criminal markets, particularly narcotics.
They are absolutely an adaptable, evolving threat, and we should expect to see certain trends not only continue, but likely accelerate in the coming years,
Continuous.
such as deepening infiltration of the legitimate economy for increasingly sophisticated money laundering operations, and also for subtly gaining social and even political influence in certain regions. Don't underestimate that.
And technologically.
They will almost certainly continue and even accelerate their strategic technological adaptation, leveraging encrypted communication channels, the dark web for criminal operations, while simultaneously using public-facing social media for propaganda, recruitment, and brand building. They use it all.
And the violence isn't going away.
And crucially, the persistence of extreme violence will remain a non-negotiable, fundamental component of their business model. As global criminal markets shift and rivalries fester, violence will remain their ultimate enforcement tool.
This deep dive leaves us with a truly unsettling question, doesn't it? In a world grappling with ever-evolving threats, how do societies effectively dismantle such an organization, one that so brilliantly blurs the lines between legitimate enterprise and brutal criminality, between sophisticated legal defense and violent conquest?
It's the billion-dollar question for law enforcement worldwide.
And as their technological prowess grows, as their financial schemes become more elaborate, how much more opaque and entrenched will this global machine of iron, ink, and illicit billions truly become? It's something to chew on, wouldn't you say?